necessary to commit long-term to not building a nuclear weapon.
I want to ask you about that. You mentioned this morning a $300 billion reconstruction fund that would be paid for by Gulf states to Iran, right? What specifically does Iran have to do to get that money?
It better be, because that is actually written in the deal. So it's one of the clauses. The U.S. and its allies would have to present reconstruction plans for Iran worth at least $300 billion, aka is like, yo, y'all broke it, y'all gonna fix it, or we're just gonna close down the strait again. I'm like, oh, so this is what it's turned into. You see why I said this war was a bad idea? You see why I said the blockade on top of the strait really wasn't doing anything to Iran? I mean, this is why they're still able to use the strait as a leverage, actually leverage into perpetuity at this point. Like, we'll be forever dealing with this.
Well, first of all, that's fundamentally between the Gulf states and Iran. What we have said is, again, that if the Iranians are behaving like a normal country, and if they make their country investable, then the Gulf Arab states are going to may decide to invest in that country, invest in their infrastructure, invest in their incredible resources. But I think it's important, not a single dime of that money comes from the United States. And in order for Iran to get that benefit, they have to show the Gulf Arab states that they're behaving like a normal country. Again, the whole concept of this deal is that if Iran acts like a normal country, their economic relationship, both with the region, but the world, is going to be totally transformed. The president of the United States doesn't want just a deal on the nuclear, as much as that's a win for the American people.
Yeah.
He wants to see a transformed Middle East, which is what this deal will do so long as the Iranians comply. And if they don't, they won't get any of the benefits.
Mr. Vice President, you're speaking to the American people right now. I want to understand this in the simplest terms. What does Iran need to do before they can be rewarded? What do they have to do to get that money? Do they have to give up their enriched uranium?
Nope.
Well, we're going to
Nope, actually not at all. And like listen, most people didn't read the deal, but I'll go ahead and break it down for you. So let's be real here. And this is where it gets crazy. So sanctions on Iranian oil, petrochemicals, and related exports would be suspended. So sanctions will be suspended, actually. Iran would regain full access of its financial resources. $24 billion in frozen Iranian funds would be released during the 60-day negotiation window. 12 billion of that will be released before talks even begin. It's like, yo, the leverage is like, bro, the fact that they could tell us, yo, 12 billion before we even talk, let you know what position we're in here. But all right, let's get back to it, guys. Don't forget to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Appreciate the support.
Right? So giving up the enriched stockpile of uranium, that's the thing that we have focused the most on. They will get benefits for doing that. The cessation of funding of terrorist organization, they will get benefits from that. Making their country investable, they will get benefits from that. So what this is set up as is, as they perform their end of the bargain, then more and more benefits flow to them. If they do less, then less, potentially nothing flows to them. And that's the way that we've set it up. So we're going to figure out some of the details in these technical negotiations. But the basic principle is Iran behaves like a normal country. They get treated like a normal country with great benefits and prosperity accruing to the whole region.
This deal sounds familiar to some, including to President Obama, who said this in a new interview. I want to play it for you.
It is doubtful that any agreement that arises is going to be significantly different or a significant improvement from the deal that we had in the first place and had worked for a long stretch of time.
What do you say to the former president?
Well, first of all, I just think that's fundamentally not right. If you go back to the Obama JCPOA, what it did is it took an Iranian nuclear program that it accelerated, and it basically bribed the Iranians to stop that program. We're in a totally different position here. The Iranian nuclear program has been completely destroyed, and what we're saying is make the long-term commitment not to rebuild it, and you will get the benefits that come with that. There's a second major difference between the JCPOA and this Trump peace plan, and it's this. The Gulf Arab countries, the countries that have been threatened the most by the Iranian regime over the past 47 years, they hated the JCPOA because they felt that it empowered Iran to be a bad regional actor. Do you know what those same countries say about the Trump peace plan? They say that it's amazing because it transforms the Middle East in a way that makes them more.
No, they're pissed off. What? Even bro know that's complete bullshit. They're like, bro, first off, why would we be happy now that Iran could pretty much close the strait whenever they want? Why would we be happy now that we know that we're at Iran's mercy? Like, bro, our buildings don't stand unless Iran feels good about it. That's the problem. We weren't even able to protect these guys. That's the whole reason to even hold up our petrodollar is because we protect them. They trade in US dollars for our protection, and we've proven that we can't even provide that for them. What are you talking about? What do you mean our allies is happy with us? They're playing happy in our face, but let's be real. Behind closed doors, they're cursing our name. They're going like, what? One, why we do it? Two, like why we let Iran have all this leverage now? And three, you're about to give these guys billions of dollars to fund their proxies that they can put into our countries now. Like, bro, well, why would the Gulf countries be happy about this? Like, what benefits do they get? Please remind me. Because they still got to pay for all their own repairs, and they're gonna have to pay for Iranians' repairs also. So I'm really trying to find the benefits here. Really am.
More peaceful and more prosperous. So I think the fact that Iran's closest neighbors see this agreement as turning over a new leaf when they saw the JCPOA as a disaster is, I think, the best sign that we have something that is fundamentally different here. We're not bribing the Iranians to do anything. What we're saying is your program has been destroyed. Make the serious commitment, the verifiable commitment that you're not going to rebuild it, and you can change your relationship with the United States forever.
Did the new Ayatollah sign off on this deal?
Well, of course, their system is very unusual, but yes, they can't make an agreement without at least the support or the buy-in of the leadership of their government. You know, our understanding of how their system works is that you have the IRGC, you have the political leadership, and of course, you have the clerical folks who are led by the Ayatollah. Our understanding is that their system has buy-in, or they would not have signed this agreement as they did.
Finally, the president has had some sharp words for Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel. He's called him crazy, ungrateful, lacking judgment. He's used some expletives while saying that. And then you have Netanyahu today saying something very different about this agreement, saying that with or without an agreement, they're not going to change their posturing. Why did the U.S. and Israel get so sideways on this issue?
Well, I think fundamentally the United States, we have our interests. Israel's often a good partner. We also have aligned interests, but also sometimes we're going to disagree on issues from time to time. And I think that's totally reasonable. Even our closest allies from the United States.
Because, bro, the problem is that Israel, they wanted regime change. Like, that's literally what they wanted. They won't consider the Iranian threat neutralized until the government in Iran is thrown into complete dysfunction and destabilized. And if they don't get that, then they won't see us as a success. I mean, bro, they were getting mad because we came to a ceasefire. Now they're really upset that we're even negotiating. Bro, they were really upset at us negotiating a deal. Now they're losing their shit now that we're about to sign one. Like, it's obvious what their intentions were. Like, their interest wasn't ours. Apparently, hopefully, I believe, our interest was just supposed to be the enrichment. We're handling that. But Israel's mad that, well, you're not handling their proxies, you're not handling their missile capability. And to Israel, I tell you, you do it, and good luck, my friend. Good luck. Because if we can't do it, no one can.
The kingdom to Israel, we sometimes have disagreements. What the president has said, and he said it very clearly, is that we expect the region to comply with this agreement. We've got a lot of great buy-in from our Gulf Arab partners. We've got a great deal with the Iranians. We've obviously got to put
do you have buy-in from Israel,
details together to ensure they comply.
But do you have buy-in from Israel? Isn't that a critical player in all of this?
Nope.
Well, what we know is that this agreement is going to make Israel safer. It's going to make the entire region safer. And what I've seen is a lot of misinformation about this agreement. I've seen it sometimes in the Iranian media. I've seen sometimes in the Israeli media. We believe quite firmly that when the Israeli people understand what's in this agreement, they're going to see this as a pathway to a new Middle East, to peace and prosperity in that region. That's all we can really ask for. We feel quite confident the Israelis are going to be bought in on this agreement once we get a little further down the road.
Mr. Vice President, we thank you for your time today.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC.
But all right, though, because, you know, JD Vance actually made his his media rounds. Like, bro, let's see, he was on ABC, NBC, and CNN. Trying to sit here and, you know, sell the Iran peace deal to the American people, which is going to be a hard sell. But let's get to it.
Ceasefire agreement in the war with Iran. Mr. Vice President, thank you for joining us this morning. You know, back on March 6th, about a week into the war, President Trump put out a post on Truth Social saying there will be no deal with Iran except unconditional surrender. So why did he reverse course and agree to this deal now?
That worked out.
Well, George, I don't think he reversed course. I think fundamentally the president's argument was we are going to use the military to exert pressure on Iran, and we're going to get something that is good for the American people. And now we have that. And just to recap where we are, George, Iran.
Oh, God, do me a favor and double tap that screen, like the video, guys. Let's get more people on the conversation by double tapping that screen. We got 25 of y'all in there. Let's try to get to 15 likes, guys, by double tapping that screen and smashing the like button if you're watching on the horizontal live. All right, let's keep it going.
Iran's nuclear program is completely destroyed. What this deal fundamentally does is it reopens the Straits of Hormuz. You see oil prices have already come down substantially just in the last 24 hours. But it also simultaneously provides a two-path option for the Iranians. On the one hand, if they continue to try to rebuild their nuclear program, this deal ensures they will never have the resources in order to do that. On the other hand, if the Iranians are willing to give a long-term commitment, along with proper verification to giving up that nuclear weapon, we're willing to welcome them into the world economy, to lift some sanctions, and to turn over a new leaf in that relationship. What the president really wanted to do, not just with the last 6 weeks, but really the last year and a half of Iran policy, is to get us to a place where we could change our relationship fundamentally with the Iranians and ensure that they never have a nuclear weapon. We feel that we're at that place now. We're, of course, going to continue to verify that, continue to negotiate and talk to the Iranians. But this is a big day for the American people, a big win for everybody who cares about basic peace and stability in the Middle East.
Even some of the president's closest allies are raising questions, though, about.
Yeah, I mean, closest allies, ex-allies, everybody's just kind of like, yeah, is this not capitulation? Like, are we not capitulating? Like, I'm sorry, but when I'm reading through this deal, and, you know, and I'm just reading it all the way through, and I'm just looking at stuff like, let me go ahead and read a little bit of part of it right here. The headline numbers: $300 billion in reconstruction commitments from the U.S. and allies, $24 billion in release frozen funds, half before negotiations even start, complete naval blockade lifted within 30 days, U.S. forces withdrawn from around Iran. I mean, and here's the big one. Hormuz reopens under Iranian arrangement, meaning Iran keeps managing the Strait, guys. Like, obviously, because we can't take them off it. So, yes, they will be managing the Strait. Like I said, this does not just seem like capitulation.
The agreement. Lindsey Graham, the senator from South Carolina, said, I'm somewhat concerned that Iran's view of the agreement seems different than what the American negotiating team is claiming right now. There do seem to be some significant differences between what we're seeing in the Iranian media. They say they're going to be seeing release of assets as the agreement is signed. They're not going to sign the agreement unless those assets are released. Is that true?
No, George, it's not true. And I'd caution Lindsey Graham and anybody else not to believe the hardliner propaganda in Iran, but to believe what's actually in the agreement. But we'll be releasing the text this week. And what everybody will see is that Iran doesn't get a dime of money unless they perform their obligations. And the money that we're talking about is fundamentally sanctions relief. We're not giving them American money. Not a single dollar of American money will go to Iran. But what we are saying, George, is we're willing to give significant sanctions relief if the Iranians make the kind of long-term commitments that are necessary to be a normal country.
And I ain't gonna lie, Vance is kind of misleading us about this deal. The problem is, bro, we're giving them $12 billion just to show up. Like $12 billion before the starts, but I'm sorry, before the talks even start. So he's trying to make it seem like we're making them work for it. They gotta skip to Arlu to get this money, and that's just not it at all. I mean, bro, how can you sit there and say that when, trust me, when a deal comes out, everybody's gonna be able to read that we're giving them $12 billion just to pull up and talk, just to continue the conversation, bro. But I do like the spin he's putting on it because most people are going to eat it up. Like, oh, well, Iran is dancing to our Lou. They're dancing to our tune. They're going to do what we say to get this money when really we're paying these guys just to talk. But bro, like this is some type of e-girl chat or something. Like this is tough.
To give up their nuclear weapons program, to stop funding terrorist activities all over the Middle East. And one of the really interesting things, George, you hear people compare this negatively or positively to the JCPOA of the Obama administration. There are all of these ways I could explain that this deal is fundamentally better for the American people than the JCPOA.
Please
but the
explain.
fundamental difference is that the Gulf Coast Coalition, our Arab...
No, I wouldn't let him pivot off that. No, please explain. No, explain point by point, because I know that's something you cannot do right now, JD. That's why you're going to go ahead and try to skirt off to something else. It's crazy that he said that, though. It's like, please explain to us how this is better. Iran gets more money. They have control of the Strait. Their proxies are still being able to get funded. I mean, please tell us how this is better. I want to know.
Partners in the region, they hated the JCPOA because they felt that it emboldened Iran to be a bad actor. They love this.
Bro, we're giving them more money than in the JCPOA. What do you think that's going to do? Same thing. Like, what do you mean? And here's the thing. They most likely are going to be spending it on, reconstruction. Oh, wait, never mind. We're covering that for them. $300 billion in reconstruction fees. We're giving these people reparations. Like, please tell me, where did the American people win in this? Where did we secure our interests? Because, like, they haven't even guaranteed to, water down their enrichment yet. All they did is just reinstate that with the same thing they've been stating for about the past 2 decades, that we're not going towards a nuclear weapon. And Lord knows that y'all don't believe that. So what are we really getting here?
Deal because they feel that it's going to create a totally new dynamic in the Middle East. That's a great testament to what the president and the entire team has accomplished. Again, we got to verify here, George. This is not going to be a short-term solution. This is going to require a lot of engagement and diplomacy. But if the Iranians meet us, I think this is going to be a totally new direction for them, for the United States, and for the whole region.
Just to be clear, the Iranians signed this deal on Friday. They will not be receiving any sanctions relief, not receive any assets upon signing of this deal.
Nope.
Well, we already signed the deal digitally yesterday, and there's been no money released, and that won't change, George. Again, this is a performance-based thing. If we see the Iranians making, for example, taking action to eliminate their stockpile of enriched material, then yes, sanctions relief will follow. If we see the Iranians taking action to allow the kind of verification regime that we need to see to know that they're not going to build a nuclear weapon, yes, sanctions relief will follow. So this is really about walking down a pathway here where the Iranians will...
Like I said, I wish we was making them work for it, but that's just not the reality of it. Like I said, we're paying them $12 billion just to talk. Before talks even resume, we're giving them $12 billion. So I like how he's trying to put the spin on it. Really, I don't like it, but I understand the intention. Is like, I understand why he's putting the spin on it, because like I said, most American people aren't going to go through and read the deal. They're actually going to think that, oh, well, Iran's doing whatever we say. It's a carrot on the stick type of moment. But really, we've already gave them the carrot. So yeah, let's see where this goes from here.
Be welcomed into the world economy if they do the right thing. And George, we have to remember, their economy is fundamentally destroyed. Their nuclear program is fundamentally destroyed. If they don't do the right things, if they don't allow the verification regime, they're never going to have the money to rebuild their nuclear program to begin with. So this is fundamentally a win-win for the American people. What the president has said is he wants it to be a win for the Iranian people as well, but that requires some real trust building and some real positive conduct from the Iranian political system. We're going to see if that happens. If it does, they're absolutely going to find the president of the United States and the entire team a willing partner to make their country more prosperous.
You mentioned the support of the Gulf states.
Oh, guys, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Yep, let's get more people on the conversation by double tapping that screen. And if you have any question, comment, jokes, or disagreements, you can super chat it in or Venmo or PayPal, guys. Appreciate the support. Let's keep it going.
This is not being welcomed in Israel right now. The national security minister for the Israeli government says this is not binding on the Israeli government. The defense minister of Israel says they are not going to pull troops out of Lebanon. Could that complicate the deal?
Well, George, everything's going to complicate the deal. As you know, in this region of the world, even a ceasefire, sometimes they're a little bit dirty. It goes from shooting a lot to shooting a little to shooting not at all. But what we fundamentally believe is that this is going to be a good deal for the people of Israel, for the people of the Gulf, the people of America, and again, potentially for the people of Iran as well. There's a lot of misreporting. I've seen this in the Israeli media about what's actually in the deal. I think when the people of the region see what's in the deal and see the kind of commitments the president of the United States is making, they're going to see this is good for everybody. Peace and prosperity is good for everybody. That's true for Israel. It's true for Saudi Arabia and UAE and Qatar. That's the kind of deal that we're striking. Yeah, it's going to require some engagement. Yes, you're going to have people within the Israeli system who are skeptical from time to time. That's the work of diplomacy, and we're going to keep on doing it, George.
Mr. Vice President, thank you.
And all right, now let's go get over to JD Vance on CNN. Because like I said, he made the rounds, guys. He made the rounds. So respect for selling this peace deal on 3 different networks. And sadly, trust me, guys, trust me, this peace deal is terrible. For us, the peace deal is terrible for us. For Iran, I mean, it's like the best thing ever.
Vice President JD Vance of the great state of Ohio. Mr. Vice President, thanks so much for joining us. I know that you're planning on releasing
guys, we got about 30 of y'all in here, man. Let's try to get the 50% engagement by double tapping that screen and liking the video, guys. Appreciate the support.
Text later at the end of the week after some of the smaller issues have been reached and worked out. I do want to ask a couple things about it, though. Does this deal at all address Iran's ballistic missile programs or Iran's funding of groups that the U.S. government classifies as terrorists, such as Hamas or?
It doesn't classify none of those. Our main concern is right now opening up the Strait and their nuclear enrichment. That's pretty much it. We've abandoned everything else. And if you look at the deal, you will see it for yourself. We've abandoned proxies. We've abandoned their missile capabilities. And this is what just why Jake Tapper's pressing on that, because we all see it. It's like, dog, we're completely ignoring like one of the 2 things you guys said was a main problem. And we're kind of just focusing on the problem that we created and the problem that Obama solved.
Hezbollah or the Houthis.
But we kind of walk back into.
Well, it does, Jake, because what the agreement does is fundamentally set up a structure whereby if the Iranians behave like a normal country, then we want to treat them like a normal country and welcome them into the world economy. What paragraph 1 of the agreement says is effectively that Iran commits itself, just as the United States commits itself, to regional peace and stability. And part of that, Jake, is that the Iranians have to stop funding violent terrorist organizations. They have to stop funding regional instability. But the important thing about this agreement, Jake, is that everything from what Iran gives us on the nuclear program, and of course, that's the most important thing, is the commitment, verifiable, to never building a nuclear weapon. All of these things come along with benefits if Iran delivers, and nothing if Iran doesn't deliver. So we certainly expect that as part of our broader agreement, Jake, Iran is going to stop funding terrorist organizations. Most importantly, they're going to have a verifiable commitment to not building a nuclear weapon. But the good thing about the way that we've set this up is that we have the leverage here. We have the ability to welcome them into the world economy if they perform. We also have the ability to say, you know what, you don't get anything if you don't meet your end of the obligation.
Here's the thing, though. We're just giving them $12 just to pull up, just to talk to us. We're giving them $12 billion. Okay, guys, I just want to let y'all know that. So like I said, as much as Vance is trying to sell it or making them jump through hoops of fire for these billions of dollars, not really.
Fair to say that it's not spelled out that they have to end their ballistic missile program or end.
Hey, and shout out to my man User. He says, nice work, big dog. If I had more money, you already know. Hey, man, I appreciate that, User. Don't worry, I'm going to go ahead and give you that celebration.
Raise a blade.
Man, ruining my chances of going to North Korea every day.
Their funding of the Houthis and Hamas and Hezbollah, that's left purposefully vague. And then the U.S. will come later and say, you know that we expected this and you're not behaving accordingly. I'm just trying to understand how the deal is written.
Yeah, so the MOU, Jake, is about 1.5 pages. So it is a very general document, but this has been very much part of the conversations that we've had with the Iranians. And on a number of issues, we are going to have to figure this stuff out during the technical negotiation phase. But what the MOU does is set up a framework whereby the Iranians get the benefits of the bargain by meeting their obligations under the bargain. They know that we don't want them to fund terrorist organizations. They know that we don't want them to be a source of instability in the region. And of course, most importantly, they know that we want a verifiable long-term commitment to not build or procure a nuclear weapon. We have that in this agreement, Jake, but fundamentally it's set up in such a way where,
the crazy thing is, like, Iran's pretty much saying that, you won't have to worry about us funding Hamas, the Houthis, or Hezbollah, if you just tell Israel to cut the shit. And that's honestly the truth. Well, we can solve the problem with the Hamas and the Houthi and Hezbollah, because, like I said, those are created out of Israel's aggression in, well, of course, Gaza, and Israeli aggression in Lebanon. That's why Hezbollah is being created. So, I mean, if we really want to solve the proxies, trust me, getting Iran to stop funding them is not going to stop them. I'm being so honest with you, it's not. They're still going to go at Israel. The only way to stop these guys is to pretty much solve their grievances. And I mean, Hezbollah is the easiest one. Just don't invade Lebanon, and there you go. You got Hezbollah solved. I mean, Gaza's a bit more complicated, but I mean, at the end of the day, you just got to create a 1 or 2 state solution, which sounds way easier than I'm making it sound. Like, trust me, guys. Easier said than done on that.
we're going to have to attach their commitments to deliverables
Way harder than I'm making it sound. Sorry.
that then are met with economic benefits for the Iranian people. That's the way that we've structured it. One final just comment on this, Jake, if I could step back. Right now, the Iranian nuclear program has been completely destroyed. Their capacity to enrich uranium, their enriched stockpile of fuel is buried far below the earth. And we really have a two-way pathway to ensure the Iranians don't ever rebuild that capacity. On the one hand, if they try to rebuild it, they're never going to get the financial resources that they would need to rebuild a billions of dollars worth of nuclear program. On the other hand, if they're willing to commit to verifiable milestones and to make sure that we feel confident they're not going to rebuild that program, we're going to totally transform.
So crazy. It's like Vance is talking past the point that, Iran could just control the strait and they'll be able to get their money like that. And like I said, they've proven that there's nothing we could do about it. We could put a blockade on top of a blockade, but I mean, that didn't really help. Iran was still able to get shadow fleets through. They're still able to get the China through Pakistan and Russia through the Caspian Sea. So, I mean, what were we doing here? And it's kind of funny how he's acting like, Iran just does not have that leverage, as if, oh, well, we can just make them be good boys and we'll give them the money. Like I said, that's not how this deal is going to work out, guys. And I know he's selling it to you like that, but that is not how it's about to go down. I wish it was. I truly do, but no.
Our relationship with Iran and Iran's relationship with the broader Middle East. So either way, the United States wins. Either way, we ensure Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon. But we really prefer that they choose the option where there's greater economic cooperation and where they behave like a normal country and are treated like one as well.
You have said that the U.S. is willing to talk about unfreezing Iranian assets if the Iranians meet those benchmarks you've been discussing. Iran says that this deal unfreezes billions of dollars over 60 days of negotiations and that many of the funds will be unfrozen before talks even begin. Is that true? What does the MOU specifically say about unfreezing assets or sanctions relief?
Yeah, so Jake, on the second point, that's definitely not true. There hasn't been a single dollar of sanctions relief or unfrozen assets, either from the United States or any of our allies in the Gulf. I've seen some misreporting about that. I don't know where it comes from. Where I suspect that it comes from, Jake, is what you're going to expect is that certain elements within the Iranian system, certain hardliners in particular, they're going to overemphasize in an effort to sell it to certain domestic populations. They're going to overemphasize what Iran gets from the bargain without ever articulating the things that Iran has to give up in order to get those benefits. To be very clear, this agreement...
somebody got to push them on this. I'll be like, so what are they giving up, JD? Like, no, please tell me, what are they giving up? What are they tell us that they won't make nukes? They've been had that position. They had a religious fatwa in 04, 06 saying that's a sin against God to make nukes. So that's nothing new. So what are we getting? Please let me know. Like right now, what are we getting out of this? Like that we didn't already have with Obama. Please let me know, because I promise you guys, it is nothing. Actually, we're giving up more than Obama had to give up, and we're getting less.
a significant sanctions relief package for the Iranian people that transforms how they interact with the world and with the region. But they only get that benefit if they meet their obligations under the agreement. So I would caution everybody to be skeptical of what certain propaganda elements within the regime are saying. The truth is, there is a really big opportunity for the Iranians, but they only get the benefit of that opportunity if they do the things they promise they're going to do.
If Iran was able to essentially hold the world hostage in some ways by closing the Strait of Hormuz, even after the U.S. and Israel decimated Iran militarily, why should we not expect that they will do the same thing again when they are allowed to reconstitute their military?
Well, a couple of things there, Jake. First of all, while Iran did try very hard to close the Strait of Hormuz and they cut down traffic substantially, one of the things that we've seen over the last 2 to 3 weeks, Jake, is that there has been a substantial increase in oil and gas flows out of that region of the world under the protection of the U.S. military. So one of the reasons why I think actually they made this agreement, I don't think they'll ever say this, but one of the reasons why they made this agreement is because they recognize they're losing that leverage over the Strait of Hormuz. That's a card they can play. They played it once, but you can't play it every day indefinitely or you start to lose it. And I think they saw that that leverage point was getting weaker and weaker.
No, it wasn't. What are you talking about, bro? We could have removed them off the strait. What do you mean every day was getting weaker and weaker? Like, if that was the case, then I guess we could have just waited it out and wouldn't have to capitulate to them. Like anything, I think about it. Wouldn't it be a better strategy just waiting it out instead of capitulating and giving them, unfrozen assets? Like, what are you saying?
Which is why we've been able to strike this agreement. Fundamentally, Jake, the way to think about this is the United States has optionality here. Have we destroyed their military? Yes. Have we decimated their nuclear program? Yes. Is the country economically much weaker than they were before the conflict began? Yes. But there really are two options, two pathways for Iran to go from here. Option one is they stay under extraordinary economic sanction, which means they're never going to be able to rebuild their military and never going to be able to reconstitute their nuclear program. Or they show us verifiably, they allow the inspections regime to say with confidence that they're not going to rebuild that nuclear program. And if they do that, it's going to transform the entire region, Jake. For 47 years, this country has been a thorn in our side. It's been kind of a basket case for Democrat and Republican administrations. The coolest thing about the progress we've made over the last few weeks is that you see people within the Iranian system, senior leadership, even IRGC officials say, you know what? We may have some animosity, we may have some mistrust, but we recognize the way that we've done business with the United States for 47 years is a mistake. Let's try something else. We're going to verify that, of course, but we're certainly willing to try something else if they.
Guys, he says that, but honestly, I think that's our realization. I think we are realizing that, you know what? We need to treat Iran differently. We need to stop coming at Iran like this, guys. Since they closed the strait, drove up our gas prices and fertilizer prices. Now that they taught us this lesson, maybe we should treat Iran differently. Maybe we should treat Iran differently on the world stage. Maybe we should release these sanctions and let them be an actual economic player and find a way for them to, help us out with this whole petrodollar collapse. You feel me? Like, they could be on our side. It could be oh so beautiful. But then again, I put that out. It said you're being an IRGC supporter. Dude, we threw thousands of pounds of bombs on them and we still didn't get them to give up. Thousands of pounds of bombs. Decimated all these ships, still controls the strait, still can hit all of our allies. Like, bro, what else you want us to do? Like, come on.
They comply.
There are obviously a lot of critics of this deal from within the Republican Party, a lot of conservatives who are critical. And I think if one of them were here right now, they might say, this is still the same group of religious extreme.
Oh, guys, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Appreciate the support, by the way. But let's make sure we double tap that screen and like the video.
Of zealots who are willing to sacrifice the lives of tens of thousands of Iranians who are demonstrating for democracy, who fund terrorist groups. And even if they want to end this war, you still can't trust them. And they still are. I mean, this is, again, not my characterization, but the characterization of plenty of people in the Republican Party. They're still a fanatical death cult. How would you respond to that?
Well, I'd say two things about that, Jake. First of all, I don't trust anybody. I think that fundamentally the way the president has set up this.
The whole fanatical death cult was just propaganda to get you guys convinced, to make you think that, oh, no, we can't work out anything with them. There's no reason to negotiate with them. And then also to also fearmonger and make you think that they're a death cult ready to kill you guys. But none of that lives up to, honestly, history. I mean, if Iran was a death cult, trust me, they'd have been got the bomb. They'd have been let it off a while ago. I mean, F it. If they were such a death cult, they'd have just started letting off with their missiles alone. Like, why even waste time trying to go to a nuke when you can just throw missiles and close the strait? Like, I mean, if they're just this death cult, but like I said, that's all propaganda.
Deal is that the benefits of the bargain only accrue again if Iran actually complies. We're not talking about rewarding words. We're talking about changing the way that we deal with Iran based on their actions. And number two, fundamentally, it is a much different group of people. The president,
Like, bro, it sucks, but we're gonna have to start putting some respect on Iran's name. It's Iran, not Iran, guys. I'm be real with you, like, bro. That's how bad it is. That's how bad of a loss we took, guys. Now I got to start respecting the name. It's Iran, guys, not Iran. Like, let's remember that. We're talking about Iran, the country that we could not beat off the Strait of Hormuz, that we couldn't bomb into submission, and that we're capitulating to. Yeah, Iran, of all countries that got us to do this, it's Iran. You would expect like Russia to get us to do this, or China, but Iran, crazy.
United States has said this before, but let me just give some detail to that. If you think of like the last 47 years of American relations with Iran, we have never had this level of direct or indirect coordination. We've never had this level of direct communication between the highest levels of their society and the highest levels of our political leadership. So something has fundamentally transformed. Can I say with 100% certainty that they're going to meet every obligation to this bargain? No, of course not, because I can't predict the future. What I can say is that we've structured this deal in such a way where their benefits only accrue if our benefits accrue as well.
And don't worry, guys. We're going to go ahead and get to the people who agree with it and people who are completely upset with it. So funny. Even the people who want this peace deal, who want this, war over with, like me, who want a peace deal like me, I'm even upset about this peace deal because it is complete capitulation and let us know that, bro, Iran had all the leverage at this point. Like, you guys are completely capitulating. You've been selling this lie to the American people as if we've been kicking their teeth in. But I mean, look at the deal. At this point, it's obvious. And anybody who's not wanting to see it at this point is just being delusional. Like, period, point blank. But let's see what MTG got to say about it.
So I'm reading today that in the U.S.-Iran proposed peace deal that is supposedly going to be signed later this week. This is after we've been told at least 38 to 40 times that there's going to be a peace deal, but supposedly there's one. There is an agreement that there will be $300 billion be given to Iran for reconstruction and investments for Iran. Now, I'm assuming this comes from the American taxpayer.
Yes, ma'am. We will be. Yeah, I know. Not only did we pay for the war in Iran, but we'll also be paying for the repairs from our war in Iran. We will pretty much be giving out $300 billion to, well, us and our Gulf allies. So I'm not really sure how much we're throwing in on that, but us and our Gulf allies will be handing out $300 billion for Iran to, for reconstruction fees. It's so crazy. It's funny because I already know how the Israelis are going to spin it. I already know how the pro-Zionist guys are going to spin it. You really trust them to actually rebuild for their people? They'll leave that city decimated and just rearm Hezbollah. How could you betray us like this? Oh, my God. Wait, it's like, oh, my goodness. All right, then you go take care of it, okay? You do it. Like Israel, at this point, we're going to have to leave you guys on y'all own. I mean, we did our best. We didn't even want to do it, but we tried. We did our best, and this is the best we can get.
And I want to tell you that's a bunch of bullshit. This is a war that Americans did not support. As a matter of fact, we said no more foreign wars, and that's what we voted for in 2024. Well, Trump decided to bomb Iran and go to war against Iran on behalf of his good friend, Bibi Netanyahu in Israel. And he's on record saying that he did this for Israel while he claimed that it was to stop Iran from having a nuclear weapon. By the way, former DNI Tulsi Gabbard told Congress that Iran was nowhere close to having a nuclear weapon. And so did other nuclear regulatory agencies, said Iran was nowhere close to having a nuclear weapon, but Trump went ahead and bombed them anyway. Well, this cost America.
Yeah, like I said, that's why the intelligence community has been eating his ass up in the press. Like all they keep doing is releasing information on the fact that no, everything Trump's been telling you has been a lie. He didn't completely decimate their military. He didn't decimate their navy, their missiles, drones, military, nothing. I mean, it's been weakened, but not completely destroyed, and it's still operational in Iran. I mean, that's why we're kind of capitulating right now. I mean, if all that was destroyed, why the hell are we even at the table with them? I mean, we're supposed to be getting total surrender, right? If everything that Trump's saying is true, right? Okay, then. So maybe you might want to reconsider, what you believe, since this is the ending result.
Americans approximately $2 billion a day and depleted much of our weapons and ammunitions that we need for our country's defense. But let's add on to that. What else did it do? You know what it did? It drove the cost of gasoline that hurt the average American citizen, drove it to over $4.50 a gallon, drove diesel up close to $6 a gallon, and much higher prices if you live in states like California. So not only have Americans already paid the price at the pump, also including inflation went up. We've been paying $2 billion.
Yep, inflation now at 4.2%, guys. And before this war is at 2.4. Yeah, almost went up a complete 2 points there.
$1 billion a day for Trump's war in Iran and Israel's war in Iran. And now we're getting told that we may have to pay an additional $300 billion to rebuild what Trump and Netanyahu decided to bomb.
Yep.
This is a bunch of bullshit.
And she has the right attitude. It is a bunch of bullshit. It's like, yo, hold on, dog. You and Bibi walked yourselves into this. If anything, Israel should be footing the bill. We did it for Israel. They dragged us into it. They should foot the bill. I mean, why we got to do it, bro? Bro, come on, man. You know the Jews got money, man. Let them cash out on this. Let them have it. They wanted this. Let them have the bill. If I was Trump, I'd have been sliding this bill to Bibi like, yeah, you better cover that, buddy. That's all you, my friend. I did it for you, man. You gonna go ahead and pay it. And if not, then, I mean, give me all your nukes. All right, there you go. That's how I would get things done. All right, guys. Make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. We're moving into the next video. Let's get into this Piers Morgan debate, guys. And like I said, if you have any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements, feel free to super chat it in or send a PayPal and Venmo to double your support towards the call-in, guys. We're at $80 right now. So like I said, if you went ahead and send 40, that would go ahead and knock out the goal. But let's get right to it.
There will be no deal with Iran except unconditional surrender. We're a long way from that.